All right, y'all, so I'm gonna make this video. It's a little roping video, and I've just gotten back from my ranch experience where we work a bunch of cattle, we gather, we sort, and we do a bunch of roping. And the roping, usually involves several ropers in the roping pen at the same time. We head and we hill those cattle. And I'm just gonna go over a few things that I saw and a few shots that you guys can really practice at home on the dummy, on the ground, and also from on top of your horse. So the practice at home is what's gonna make you efficient in the roping pen. Hey, thanks for tuning in and watching this YouTube channel. If you're liking the videos that you're seeing, please like and subscribe this channel. And make sure to hit that little bell button so you don't miss out on any new videos coming out. One of the first things is you wanna sort your coils. So you just wanna make sure that your coils are nice and sorted and they're nice and untangled in your left hand. And I'll do this every couple of times after I throw a loop. I'll make sure that my coils are nice and sorted so it's not a rat's nest. And when I'm feeding my rope, it doesn't get all jumbled up, and instead of being nice and smooth, it just kind of blop and wads out of my hand. The next thing you're gonna wanna work on is rebuilding a loop. In the roping pen, you throw, you miss, you get out of the area of operation, go somewhere else, rebuild a loop, and then come back in. So on the ground, just get real handy, and I've got basic videos on how to make loops and stuff like that, but just get real handy at making a loop as fast as you can. The other thing I want you guys to work on is the ability to have situational awareness all around you in the roping pen. So you're keeping an eye on the ropers, you're keeping an eye on their horses, especially guys, young colts that might need a little bit more room. And especially when a calf is roped, you want to be able to have situational awareness, pay attention to things as you're coiling your rope and even as you're making a loop. So you get in the habit of not looking down at your hands the whole time when you're coiling and when you're making a loop, okay? The other thing that you're gonna wanna pay attention to is opening your left hand. So the left hand holds your coils, the left hand holds your reins. When I throw, I'm gonna open my left hand and watch. Some coils are gonna come out of that left hand. So see how some coils sucked out of my left hand? If I don't do that, then when I throw, my loop's gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then by the time I get to the calf's head, it might not even be big enough to go over the head. So when you throw, make sure that you throw with your left hand open. Since my rope's already out there, when we grab our slack, what you don't want to do, because we have a horse's face attached to our hands, is you don't want to get in the habit of throwing and then pulling your slack with both your hands. A lot of times we'll do that. We pick up bad habits on the ground if we're not careful. So you throw, don't pull your slack like that. The way you want to pull your slack is you want to push your coil hand forward. You want to grab your slack, pull, and then go to your horn. And you want to be able to do all of that also without looking and go to your horn. A real easy way to find your slack. Even if I throw a shot over here, or over here, or over here, doesn't matter where my shot is thrown, my slack's always right here. Doesn't matter where that rope's at, my slack's always right here. So instead of necessarily going out here and grabbing your slack or going out here and grabbing your slack, just go right here. Your slack is always right here, and then you pull it. The real basic shot that about everybody should know, I'm just turning him around because he's got some screws on his back legs. Real basic shot that everybody should know and should be very, very proficient at is what we call a heel trap. A very, simple, right? A very easy, simple heel trap. When I throw a heel trap, especially with a poly rope, okay, the rope, this is my loop right here. This is my loop. The part of the rope going through the hondu that I'm gonna slide my hand down and grab back here, this part is called my spoke, okay? You want a pretty nice big spoke, about an arm's length. The bigger the loop, the bigger the spoke. That's what helps keep your loop open. But when I'm throwing a heel trap, I'm gonna put my pinky in between my loop, this part, and my spoke, okay? I'm gonna swing what we call an overhand dip over the left shoulder loop. So my dip, the dip of my rope, the bottom of my loop is gonna be over my left shoulder. I'm gonna hold my spoke with my pinky, dips over my left shoulder, right? I want the dip of my rope to be about in the middle of the back of the critter that I'm roping. I don't want to be too far forward or I'm going to whack his front legs. And I don't want to be too far back because I'm going to miss his legs. So get that dip right over his back, and then when I deliver, I'm going to go from the left over my shoulder. As soon as my rope hits the legs, I'm letting go of the loop. But see, I've got my spoke. I got to hold my spoke up like this and make a trap for the cow to go through. If I don't hold my spoke up, then it falls flat on the ground and I don't catch anything. So dip over your left shoulder, and then I kind of come over, and my release is like I'm shaking somebody's hand. I'm aiming for his hocks. And that loop, if my hand's open like this and I'm shaking a hand, that loop should stay open as it curves around them legs. And then me holding that spoke is gonna keep that spoke up off the ground and make a nice trap for those hills. So split your spoke, dip over your left shoulder, okay, over my left shoulder. I'm gonna come up and around. As soon as that top strand of my rope hits its legs, then I'm letting go, holding my slack up like that. Now I've got a real nice trap for that calf to run into. Another issue that we can run into is throwing that loop too hard at the legs. And when you're roping and you're not used to the adrenaline and the action and stuff, it's pretty easy to kind of wing or loop in there and just kind of hope and pray. So you don't want to get in the habit of swinging and throwing, because then I just lost everything. Even though it wrapped around its legs, I lost everything. I lost my spoke, and there's absolutely no trap for my critter to step into. That shot is a very high percentage shot, and everybody should learn that one. The next one, since we're on the topic of hill shots, and these are all from the near side. There's other shots that I can throw from the other side of my cow, but for right now, and just for learning, we'll just stick to the near side shots. The next one is going to be what we call a hip shot. Now for a hip shot, you need a pretty big loop, because I want my loop to go over the hips. I want the dip to be sucked through in between his legs, and then I want the other half of the loop to be wrapped around the calf's hind legs. So you can see there I've got a pretty big spoke. I've got a pretty big loop. I'll probably feed some rope into it when I'm swinging. Now this hip shot is pretty much from right here. I could even throw one back here. I can do that, but generally from about right here to about right here is where you'll throw that hip shot. And I'm gonna aim right above that calf's hip, and I want when I'm swinging, I want the dip of my rope to be right in the middle of them legs. Okay, right in the middle of the legs. I don't want to be too far out front, and I certainly don't want to be too far back. So I want that dip right in the middle of his legs. This particular shot, I'm going to be swinging my loop pretty much straight up and down, and it's a lot easier when I'm on a horse with a big loop. But even on the ground, I'll get in the habit of swinging that loop up and down, okay? And I'm gonna make sure that my dip goes between his legs, and I lay it over his back by releasing over his back. Now, that's not the best one. I hit a front leg, and I could still pick up a leg of the calf, but I didn't get two legs. Play with all of those shots and at different angles. Like that trap shot I threw from behind the hip, you can throw that same shot by walking past them. So the calf's being drugged that way, or they're standing still and you just want to do a different shot. Maybe you can't get as close to them to throw a real nice trap shot. You might need to stand a little bit further away from them out of their flight zone. I can walk my horse this way, calf's looking that way, split my spoke, and when I'm right about here, I'm still facing that way, and I'm gonna bring that loop around and I'm gonna set it in there like that. So practice all these shots at different angles, because when you're in the pen with live critters, extra horses, the adrenaline's going up, there's lots of different shots that you're gonna have to throw. So get used to throwing them at different angles for your practice and your horse's practice. All right, the next shot, we'll do, I'll do 2 head shots, nothing fancy, no hula hands or anything like that. This is what we'd call dip over the left overhand shot. This is the shot that your team ropers throw, your calf ropers throw. This is a shot that if I'm behind the calf in a field, if it's going down the fence, whatever, I can throw an overhand shot. And the overhand shot just means that I'm delivering overhand. I'm like throwing a ball overhand. So, dips over my left shoulder. I'm gonna aim for that cow's shoulders, okay? Dips over my left shoulder, and I'm gonna throw. Push my hand forward, pull my slack. And you can throw that shot pretty far. And one thing, there's always things to remember, right? You kind of want your loop angle to match the angle of that calf's head. So if that calf's head, I know this one's sticking straight out, but if that calf's head's like this, then that's the angle you want your loop to match. If that head's up in the air, or if you're roping horns, then you want a little flatter swing. Flatter swing, a little bit of a steeper swing. And then aim for the shoulders, and then pull your slack. Okay, so that's the overhand. The other shot that for me personally is a very high percentage shot, and I really like throwing this shot when I've got a fence on this side, fence over here, and it's what we call an underhand scoop loop. So this is overhand, this is underhand. I'm basically gonna swing my loop pretty vertical, and I'm gonna underhand it and throw it just above that calf's head, and that loop's just gonna fly nice and flat, catch it, and then my loop should figure 8 on the offside. And I'll show you that. Vertical swing, calf's going left to right. When my arm gets here, I'll deliver. Vertical swing, deliver, okay? Now that whole figure 8 thing is when my rope goes to the offside, it should actually, I'd like it, if it didn't stay open, I'd like it if it gets a little figure 8 in it, because that's gonna help to prevent the calf or the cow from running through your loop. The figure 8 will keep that loop on there and give you time to get your slack. So up and down throw, or up and down swing, throw. Now there, he got a beautiful figure 8. See there, oh, I undid it. See, it figure 8'd on me, and that's gonna help keep the calf from running through your rope. So those are some super simple shots, not always easy shots, but super simple shots that you can practice from your horse, practice from the ground, and it'll help prepare you for your next roping event. Remember to sort your coils, remember to open your left hand, remember to have enough spoke, okay, at least an arm's length. Bigger the loop, bigger the spoke, and when you're throwing, play different distances so that you know how much to load that loop and how hard to throw that loop. That was bunk. Can anybody guess why I missed that? That's right, I didn't open my left hand. So now I got to do that again, because that is unacceptable. So play with how far away you are from your dummy so that you can practice throwing that loop opening that left hand like I didn't do. There. And you can start to learn how to throw that rope and reach it out and smoke something from a distance. And then you'll be on fire next time you go into the roping pen. So those are just some tips and tricks that I noticed over the weekend that people could work on. Everybody could work on it. I could work on it. Lord knows I need the help. But thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.